Hello.
Can you hear me now?
I can. Yeah. How you
Yay.
doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for doing the podcast. I know my goal is usually mama's out from a year, but you're approaching two, so I thought it was time. I know, time flies, right?
Crazy. Well, thank you for the invitation. I feel honored to be here. And yeah, it's definitely crazy to even think about that the 2 year mark is coming, you know. It's just like, yeah, it's insane.
Yeah. And in that time, you've had another baby, and that's a whole nother. You and I connected, I don't think you were pregnant yet. We connected on Instagram because I was down in like Davie, Florida, and I went to Orange Theory and I took a picture of the outside of my Orange Theory class, and I was like, "Oh, here we go." And then you were like, "Oh my God, that's like my shopping center. I'm getting my nails done or something
Yes.
like that." And I was like, "No way," because like there's Fort Lauderdale, then there's Davie Plantation, and like no one, I never really meet anybody from there. So that was really cool. And then last time I was down there, we actually grabbed coffee, which was so amazing because I never get to really meet mamas, and it's such a surreal feeling to meet one in person that you've been talking to for a while, you know?
It really is. And I think it's like I got connected through another lost mom too, like to you, like
Mm.
that she sent me your podcast. And then I found out that all the lost moms down here from, the foundation, Star Legacy Foundation, they all know you too. And I
Oh,
was like, okay, great.
oh my
So
God.
you're a very strong voice in this, in our community, and we are all very grateful for all that you do and for saying and speaking the things that we oftentimes can't or,
Yeah.
sometimes are afraid to even like verbalize, so.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I appreciate you saying that. Yeah. It's a shell shock feeling right after it happens. I
Mhm.
think you are feeling like, I never heard of this before. What is stillbirth? What do you mean the baby died? Like my baby died. Like what? Like no. When there's one thing to get that news and try to receive and process that news, but it's another to get news where you absolutely had no idea that
Mhm.
was a potential outcome. And so I obviously want to get to your story, but then it just felt like, and I don't know if you felt this as well. I'm pretty sure you did. It was like the doctors, the people around us, everybody just kind of felt like it was eh, ain't no thing. And you're like, if this ain't no thing, why do I want to die? Like, why is this so bad?
Mhm.
And even if y'all don't think this ain't a thing, this feels like it's the biggest thing that's ever happened to a human being. And I'm going to like pursue those feelings. And um, you're like stepping into it as well. So I want to talk about that, how you're getting a little bit more vocal about advocacy, prevention, even in the grief and bereavement space. I love that you are interacting with Star Legacy in South Florida. For you listening, if you don't know what Star Legacy is, it's a fantastic organization that offers bereavement care. I believe they do research. Do they do research? But more just bereavement care.
Yes, it's both, yeah.
Okay.
They
Awesome.
they
Yeah.
help fund research.
Yeah. Okay. So they are everywhere. So look in your local city and see if they have them. They're really great for
Mhm.
finding support and companionship. Okay. So, obviously stage is yours, the mic is yours. You can start from the beginning wherever you want to and tell us your story. Or I could put that in the description and we could just hop into whatever it is important that you want to talk about. So I'll leave it up to you, babe.
Yeah, no, sure. I definitely would love to share my story. So I uh lost my first baby girl, Alessandra, on April 10th, 2024. After a textbook perfect pregnancy, everything was just going great, And well, I haven't told the story in a long time, so forgive me if I tear up a little bit, but it's like all those strong feelings just come back, when you're telling it. Uh, so everything was great. I was already over 35, so they already considered me like high risk, so I was already seeing the MFM. Although I wasn't really high risk, I was always very healthy. There was no issues. I didn't have high blood pressure, diabetes, nothing, none of that I dealt with. And so at my 28-week MFM appointment, I had already had two prior, the 20-week and 24-week. At the 28, the doctor said, look, everything looks perfect. Everything looks great. I don't need to see you until you're like 38 weeks if you're okay with that. And I'm a first time mom, I'm thinking everything is perfect. They don't see anything bad. And I said, okay, sure, that's fine. It's fine. So I still had my OB appointments in between. But about at 32 weeks, I remember I noticed decreased movement, and I did have an anterior placenta, so like the movements were never super strong, but I noticed a decrease. So I went in to my regular OB appointment because that was like on a Saturday, and I had an appointment on Tuesday. And I still felt her move, but it was like definitely weaker, even weaker than before.
Hmm.
So I was like, I'm just gonna wait. I wasn't alarmed or anything. I was just gonna wait until I had an
Why should
appointment
you
on
be?
Tuesday. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I went to the appointment. They checked, there was a heartbeat. Everything was fine. But at the OB office, they didn't have like the super high tech, ultrasound machines and all that. So they sent me to the hospital, which was like right across the street, just to get checked out because I mentioned that I noticed decreased movement. So I went in. I was monitored for about 6 hours, like they did all the ultrasound, all the tests, everything. And they told me she looked great. Everything looks great. Nothing to worry about. She scored an 8 out of 8. So I said, okay, well, it's just something, it's just on my mind, I'm just going crazy. I'm just making this up. Everything is fine. What could go wrong, right?
Did they do ultrasound or just an NST?
They did ultrasound, and I don't even remember if they did an NSD. They did the ultrasound,
So how were
the
you monitored?
biophysical.
Yeah, how were you monitored for 6 hours? Did they just keep checking you after?
Well, actually, no, they were checking the heart rate. So yeah, that was the NSD that they
The
were doing.
non-stress test. It was like bands around your
Yes.
belly.
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
okay.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
I
So
didn't know
they
what
were,
that
yes.
was until the very end. Yeah, I had no idea.
Yeah. So they yeah, so they sent me home, and I literally at that moment I relaxed, because I was like, what could go wrong? I
Hmm.
didn't know. I never heard of the term stillbirth until, like you said, it did happen to me. So I literally relaxed. I had 2 more weeks of work, and I was just gonna kind of like take the last few weeks off just to kind of get ready, and just prepare myself. And then I had the baby shower coming up in a couple of days, so I was getting ready for that. So I just was really busy in the next couple of weeks, and we had the maternity photo shoot and all that. So I just remember I was a Tuesday night. I was 34 weeks and 4 days, and I went into the bathtub because I was like, I just don't feel something just feels off, and I could feel that these hard feelings on my belly, and I thought it was like her pushing her head because I knew she was head down, and I thought she was pushing her head. I was like, that's it. Like she's pushing herself, her head is hitting, but it was almost like a little painful.
Hmm.
Hindsight 2020. If I knew, if I only knew what contractions felt like.
Yeah.
I think I had been contracting for at least a week
Oh my
because I
God.
remember I remember that feeling for a while.
Hmm.
And so I went into the bathtub that night. My husband came home from work, and he's searching for me. He goes into the bathroom, and he looks at me. He's like, "What's wrong?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I just feel off. Like these movements, just feel off." And he's like, "Get out right now. Let's check the heart rate." Mind you, I had purchased a Doppler that I had since, I don't know, 12 weeks.
Yeah.
And I didn't think of trying to use it at all. Like I was just such in a everything is fine, I guess like a denial kind of,
Hmm. I
like
was the
state
same
of
way.
mind.
Yeah, I had one in the closet. Totally forgot about it.
I didn't use it, And so he's like, get out of the tub right now. Let's check the heart. And
Yeah.
for the first time in since 12 weeks, we didn't get a heartbeat. We didn't find a heartbeat. And I always read about people saying, "Oh, be careful with the Doppler. They can, be tricky and they might malfunction." And I was like, "Just go grab a new battery." The battery died. He came in with new batteries. We changed the battery. Still no heartbeat. And I still was not thinking anything was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So naive.
Mm-hmm.
And my husband was like, "We're going to the hospital right now." And I'm like, "Okay, everything's gonna be fine, but okay, let's go." And yeah, we go in there and I got checked in, and I remember the nurse came in with the heart rate monitor and she put in my belly and she starts looking for the heart. And then that's when I start getting nervous. I was
Mm-hmm.
like, what's happening? Like, why do I not hear a heartbeat? And she hits the intercom, calls somebody else, and says, "Hey, like I cannot get a heartbeat. Can you sense whatever?" Like I think they had a little machine with like a screen that was kind of almost like a ultrasound. So I start panicking. I start like hyperventilating. I'm like, "What's going on?" And she's like, "Don't worry, trying to calm me down. We're just gonna. Sometimes this happens. We're just gonna." And I'm like, "What's happening?" So they come in with a machine, and I remember seeing a picture, of her little body, and it wasn't moving. It was motionless. And that's what they said, we cannot find a heartbeat, but we're gonna confirm. We have to get, like the the good machine or whatever to confirm. And I just remember like I was in total shock. I couldn't believe. I'm like, what does that mean? Like, what do you mean? What happened? I was here 2 weeks ago. What happened? And these doctors stormed in like it was a bunch of nurses, a bunch of people came into the room. And I was crying and I was asking like, how could they missed it? I was just there. Why did they send me home? And I right away, like I was trying to find somebody to blame because I'm like, how does this happen? Like it cannot be my fault. And then they brought in the ultrasound. They took the images and they confirmed there was no heartbeat. So at that point, the doctor came in and my husband right away asked, what are our options? What do we do? Does she need to do a C-section? What how do we go about this? So the doctor said, based on the images, and I don't know if it was my water levels that were already very low. I don't know how they saw this, but she said, this happened a while ago. And I said, what do you mean a while ago? And she said, could like a few days. And I mean, like how many days? Could have been 10 days? Could have been 2 weeks? She said, yes, could have been
Oh
10 days.
no.
Yes, yes, yes. So right away, I'm like, so basically, you telling me that I was in the hospital, you released me, and a few days later she died? Like you guys have like had to have missed something, Like,
Mm-hmm.
and all those thoughts didn't come until like off after later on, of course. Like at the moment, I was just in shock. I was just trying to figure out what was happening and prepare myself for what was about to happen, which was I was gonna have to give birth to my dead daughter. And so she said we would, induce. I could go home, but she would definitely suggest that we did it as soon as possible. So my husband said, "We're just gonna stay. Let's get this done tonight." It was 9 o'clock at night,
Mm-hmm.
and they said, "Okay, we're gonna put you in a room." Like they put me in this huge suite, which is like a special room or whatever. And at that night, they started the induction at midnight, and I really think that I my body was already into the process of
Mm-hmm.
delivery because before the Pitocin, the doctor checked me and I was already 4 centimeters dilated.
Mm. Wow.
So I think my body was really just
Mm.
ready, and I was in labor for 3 hours. By the time I asked um, for the I'm blinking now for
Epidural?
the epidural,
Yeah.
I didn't have time to get it because it
Are you
was
kidding?
literally like I asked for it. They took
Wait.
like an hour. They took an hour to come. So I labored really quickly. I didn't get
Yeah.
it right away because they were like, you can start a Pitocin and just let us know when it starts to get really, uncomfortable so we
Yeah.
can give you the epidural. And I said, okay. I didn't think I was going to progress that quickly. So when I asked, they took another hour and then it was another half hour. And by the time, like, he literally had the injection on my back and my water broke. And then the next contraction, I could feel her coming out. So I felt
Holy
everything.
moly, mama.
Yeah, it
That
was
kind of
intense. And,
that's kind of cool that you had that experience with her, you know?
you know, it's so crazy because it was like, I've always considered myself a tough person and like, I have a high tolerance for pain,
Mm.
like I've been in athletics my entire life. And um, that was really painful. And like thinking back, I think I waited that long because I wanted to feel that pain,
Hmm. A lot of moms say that, yeah.
that physical pain, as
Yeah.
hard as my heart was hurting for as long as I could take it.
Hmm.
I didn't expect, but I think that, I mean, it had to be that way too. And I, I'm glad I got to hold her. I got to see her. We didn't keep her for too long because you can imagine it had been a few days, so her
Was her
skin
skin
was
all
her
coming off?
skin was a pretty bad condition, and just everything. Like she was already decomposing.
Mm. Yeah.
It was really hard. It was hard to see that too. It was hard to even think that I carried my baby and she wasn't alive for days, and I had no idea. No idea.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was a really tough pill to swallow. Um, and then it starts the whole blaming game, like,
Hmm.
how did I not know, But that was, like the hospital experience. And then we were sent home that same day. Like I gave birth at 4 o'clock in the morning. They said they released me at 6 p.m.
Oh, wow.
because she was only 3 pounds, 3 pounds 18, no, 3 pounds 11 ounces. So she was
At
like really
34, 30, almost
tiny.
35 weeks?
She was very small.
Interesting.
She was very small. And another thing I noticed, because I was at 32 weeks, she was about the same weight, 3 pounds something, as 34 weeks. So I questioned my doctor. I'm like, she didn't grow in these 2 weeks. So like she died, like she had to have died shortly after I left the hospital,
Oh
you
my
know?
God.
Um, and I'm like, and it was the craziest thing because I had to wait for the autopsy report. I had to wait, obviously it takes a month. And I had to wait for all of that information to see like if something was wrong with her, why, like maybe she wasn't developing correctly.
Was it
Uh,
did she have a nuchal cord when she was
she
born?
had so she had a nuchal twice, and it
Twice
was
around her
the
neck.
twice, and it was the description was tight 2 times nuchal, so it was very tight. You could see the marks, around her neck.
Could have been from delivery. So we don't,
We
right? It
don't
has a
we don't
tight.
know.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
yeah, I don't know.
They
But
don't
I
take they
did
don't take nuchal cords seriously at all. It's kind of
They
wild.
don't. And it's
Mm-mm.
crazy because I talked to other moms and other moms that had that and their doctors were very clear. This is what caused your baby's death. Like it was the nuchal. It was a cord accident or, because
But they don't
there
even
was.
check for it. And
They
or I
don't.
was told by my maternal fetal medicine doctor that even if he saw the cord around the neck,
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't even tell me because it's so common, everything should be fine. It would have to be around the neck 3 or 4 times. And I'm like, you're shitting me, right? Like,
Yeah.
because
It's crazy.
I'm so sorry. I mean, and so did the report come back and say anything that would indicate maybe small placenta or just what did it
N-
say?
Even the placenta was proportional to the baby. She
Okay.
was small, so the placenta was, you know,
Okay.
I
So you
guess
believe that her lack of growth was because that she died.
I believe, yes, and I believe that I actually spoke to Dr. Jason Collins, who was in your
Yeah.
podcast,
Hmm.
because something was telling me that it had to have to do with the umbilical cord, you know. The report also said that her umbilical cord was extra long.
Mm.
The average size is between 50-55 centimeters. Hers was 85 centimeters.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
So she had so that's what he explained to me. Like it was very long, it was hypercoiled. She had a lot of room to get it tangled, and he thinks I spoke to him on the phone. He was
How
very
funny is
sweet,
he?
by the
He's the
way, super
best.
nice
He's a pop
guy.
pop.
Yes,
I love it.
yes. And he said that besides the new cold twice, he thinks that there was another new cold, like around her foot or ankle or something, that
That,
caused
ugh.
like increased tension. And he asked me if they told me anything like that. I'm like, no, they didn't say that there was any other nucle, but it could have also have come undone during birth or whatever. But that's his theory.
Yeah, his perspective is really interesting. When I've had him on the podcast, if you listening, if you haven't listened yet, it's Dr. Jason Collins. He's a cord specialist and has kind of essentially been like blacklisted in the industry because people don't like
Hmm.
his theories. He basically says should be measuring the cord because if you have a very, very long cord, you have more opportunity to get entangled into it. So if we see that the cord is very, very long, then we call it high risk and we keep checking for the cord to make sure that it is okay. Now, if the cord is very short, is another thing that would essentially get twisted around the baby's neck, and that would cause, um, it would most likely cause death during delivery. You guys, I'm saying this super abruptly because I've said this 1,000 times. This is a horrible fucking subject, so please don't think I'm being callous. But like his his ideas are basically like we need to be watching the cord more often and pay more
Hmm.
attention to nuchals, knots, and hypercoils and length. And it was super eye opening. Did it help to speak to him? How did you feel after?
It did because I just needed to know. I needed an answer because my doctors was like, "Oh no, like we believe something chronic was happening and it culminated in a acute event." And I'm like, "Okay, so but what? Specifically tell me what." And they're like, "We can't tell you." So I don't know if they were trying to refer to like maybe the cord and she was already not getting enough, you know, nutrition and oxygen from the placenta. They couldn't pinpoint if it was the placenta was not
Right,
providing enough for the baby or the cord was too long. Like they couldn't.
right.
So I guess that was their theory, but I needed to know exactly like this is what happened, for me. And
Absolutely.
obviously, going into a subsequent pregnancy and trying to get pregnant again. Like I needed to know, well, okay, so this happened. What are the risks of this happening again? So for me, it was really helpful. And it's funny that you say that because then, fast forward to my second pregnancy, I did go. I went to the hospital several times.
Hell
I
yeah.
think it was a very different
Me
pregnancy.
again. Yeah.
Yeah. But one of the times that I was just it was that actually at 34 weeks. Like that time between 32 to 37 weeks, I was just a mess
Mhm.
mentally, emotionally, because I'm like, I'm not letting this happening again. You're telling me everything is perfect. Everything was perfect last time. And I'm gonna do everything in my power to not let this happen again.
Yeah.
And so I went at 34 weeks. They checked, everything was fine. They were gonna release me. However, one thing happened that I was not comfortable with. During the ultrasound, they have to get a certain amount of movements for them to score, to give the 8 out of 8 score for the baby. I think it's like a flexion of the arm and like a couple of movements. I was literally sitting there with this guy trying to move my belly for like 20 minutes and she wouldn't move. Okay, she's sleeping, wake up, blah, blah, blah. And then finally he's like, okay, he pulls up this thing that looks like a vibrator and that puts like a glove on top of it. And he goes, this is gonna just move a little bit. And I was like, okay. So he puts it and it feels like a shock, like a, trrr, And so right away she moves and I'm like, okay, this never happened before, like you guys never explained to me what this is. How am I supposed to think that everything is fine if every other ultrasound that I've done so far, she moved everything, never needed to use this machine, whatever it is that you call it. So they wanted to release me and I'm like, no, like I'm not going home.
Yeah.
And this doctor at the emergency room told me the same thing your MFM said, that even if she had a new cold, they wouldn't tell me. And I like it was such I told you this story. I don't want to go like getting too far into it, but we had a little altercation and I finally told her I call my doctor. Like I'm not gonna deal with you anymore. Like call my friend. And this was like in the middle of the maternity emergency, like the triage.
I'm so proud of you for having balls to do that. It's so scary stepping to
It
doctors,
is
but when
so
you're like,
scary.
you get the balls, you just can't stop. You're like,
You
ah,
can't. And
yeah.
I was so angry, because she was so like just had no sensitivity, like so like insensitive, just like cold stone, like whatever. But anyways, I got my doctor to put me in a room for like they admitted me into the hospital for that night. So I
Mm.
stayed overnight. Everything was fine. I'm like, I'm not gonna leave. Like you can tell me that I'm gonna leave, but I'm not leaving. Sorry. But
So happy
anyways,
they listen to you. I mean, it's so important, yeah, that they
yeah.
listen, and
Yeah, yeah. My
it's
OB was
really,
amazing. So like I changed off obviously I changed doctors. I did not want to go back to the same doctors. I felt like, like I wasn't yeah, I just felt like they weren't um yeah, I just felt like I wasn't heard and I was not like taken care of, And so I went to a new doctor. Her name is Dr. Jessica Berg. Amazing, amazing doctor. If any of your listeners live in South Florida. She's in Miramar.
nice.
So just this most human doctor. And so when I actually, I interviewed. I went for like to interview doctors because I'm like, I'm not gonna just pick a doctor and say, okay, I trust you. Like I need to tell you my story. What we're gonna do to prevent this next time around? How are you gonna help me? You have to understand I'm gonna be very anxious. So she was actually the second doctor that I went to because the first was recommended by my therapist and it was a disaster. From the moment I arrived in the office to the moment I left, I didn't even get to see the doctor that I made the appointment because it was a group practice.
Yeah, that's rough.
Yeah, so I went to like, and then they I ended up seeing somebody else. The nurses were super insensitive. I wrote in the little paper, because you have to fill out all the stuff. I always remember your podcast about that, like filling out medical forms. That was my first time after, I think I was like 3 months out after the loss, because I'm like, I need to know when I can start trying again because my previous doctor told me that I had to wait 12 to 18 months. And I'm like, fuck that. I'm, go-
Yeah, no, no.
I'm like, I'm not gonna wait a year and a half, but I needed to also hear from a doctor, like,
Hmm.
you're clear, go ahead. So I wrote in the paper because they didn't have a choice for
So
stillbirth.
weird. It's so
So I wrote,
weird.
I
Yeah,
know.
gigantic letters.
I wrote it really big, stillbirth, and then the nurse is like has the paper like that, and she's like, "Are you here for this?" And she's pointing at the where I wrote stillbirth, and I'm like, "Bitch, yes!" Like, and they're like, "Well, the
Ooh.
doctor cannot see you. He cannot see you for this." Like, I'm like,
What?
"Dude, yeah." Like, it was still a horrible
Fucking
experience, the
lights on
worst.
fire. I
No, you don't even
cannot.
know. I was crying already in the room waiting for the doc because I'm like, I'm already here. I'm gonna wait for the doctor. And when she came in and I'm crying, she's like, "Oh my God, it's ridiculous." She's like, well, sweetie, you need to make sure that you wait until at least, like you're emotionally ready." And
No,
I'm
you
just
know, bitch.
like,
It's not your job. Back it up.
I was like, you know what? Like, bye. I never went back.
Nice. Good for you. Because you would have like
So,
not, they would have caused so much anxiety in your pregnancy, and you already are so full of anxiety that was so smart to leave there. You don't have
yeah.
to deal with people like that. That is not the
Yeah.
norm.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, exactly. So then I found this new doctor, the doctor that I actually chose to be my doctor, and it was a completely different experience
I
from the
love that.
moment that
I really hope people find her. That's really special. Good.
when from the moment I called to make the appointment, I explained to them, look, I'm not pregnant yet, but I want to do a pre-conception appointment,
Yep.
and I want to her to know my story. This is what happened. They put me in. I think I had to wait like a week, 2 weeks, or
Yep.
maybe three at the most. They found me a spot. I went. She already knew, and as soon as she walks in, I had the autopsy report in my hand. I handed it to her. She briefly read it, and we talked about the future pregnancy, what we can do, blah blah blah. 37-week induction for sure. I would induce you, like no questions asked. If that's what you want, we can do it.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes, I'm gonna send you to the MFM that I work with, Dr. Flick,
Mm-hmm.
which is also in Miramar, so that you can meet with her. And I thought that was amazing because she didn't have to do that, you
No.
know?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think they called me to make the appointment. I made the appointment. When I came into the office, Dr. Flick had read the entire report.
Wow.
She sat there with her eyes tearing up and told me, "This is you went through the worst possible thing that can happen to a mother or to a
Oof.
person." And to me, I was like, "Oh my God."
To have that
Like what
validation. Yeah.
from a doctor, and just to for that person to be proactive, and like she didn't have to do all that. They went above and beyond, even before I chose them to be my doctors.
Mm-hmm.
And so right away she told me, look, you had a extra long umbilical cord. I can almost guarantee you that in your next pregnancy, you're not gonna have a long umbilical cord. The chances are very, very low. So right there, I was like,
Yeah.
okay. I was like, okay, this is good. This is good affirmation. I feel confident. And Dr. Berg had already told me, you were like 4 months out. I was 4 months out. And she's like, are you ready to start trying? And I'm like, yes. He's like, go for it.
Nice. Nice.
Go for it.
God.
So yeah, so it was definitely I wanted to share that because, like thankfully I had also the bad experience to looking back now, like so that I could compare and I
Mm-hmm.
could see like, oh, this is how it should be,
Mm-hmm.
you know? Nobody, we never, and I'm not a confrontational person, but like if it's something that I feel very strongly about, I am going to stand up for it, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
not gonna let you walk all over me. So I think that's important because I never really understood when people said, "Oh, pregnant women have to advocate for themselves," until now,
Yeah.
and I really like that word makes so much sense now.
The fact that we have to advocate for ourselves and step to doctors is wild. This isn't like a fraudulent credit card purchase. This is the death of your baby. Like the sheer like lack of trauma informed care is bananas to me. And
Yeah.
they'll tell you like they do not have to learn trauma or grief informed care in med school. Maybe they had like one class, maybe like a half a class once. So it's kind of bananas. And I think it's when we do encounter people in public and they are projecting onto us what they are not able to sit with. Like if they're only going to be able to show up for us as they can show up for themselves. But when you find medical professionals that you actually like really trusted, and then under their care, their one job to get your baby here, the baby dies, and then you're like, okay, I don't really trust anybody anymore. And then you find that there's so lack of compassion. It's just
Hmm.
wild. It's like just take them out from being medical professionals. Are you a human being? And the answer is no.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I'm super proud of you though, and I'm really glad that you sought out better care because that's really important in pregnancy after loss. It is the second hardest thing somebody can ever do because
Hmm.
what people don't realize, not, I mean, we do, but people on the outside, it's like there's triggers in life, things that make you feel your head spinning, start to sweat, whether it's the sight of a pregnant belly or it's a baby commercial, whatever it is. But then it's a trauma response when you're back in the trauma. The trauma is being
Mhm.
pregnant again. A baby died in your belly, and now you have another one, and it is bananas what that does to your mental state.
Mm.
And I think people really, really misunderestimate that. They really underestimate that.
Yeah, yeah. And and that goes into like the next thing is that I'm still having such a hard time seeing other pregnant women, especially if it's like somebody that I know and and seeing them welcoming their babies.
Yeah, it doesn't change. Hate to break it to you.
Ah, my God, because I was like, maybe, okay, this is normal right after the loss. I'm in the trenches. I'm not pregnant yet, or I'm pregnant, but I still don't have my baby. Now I've gone through all those stages and I have my baby healthy, safe and sound in my arms. And I'm still like, what the fuck, you know?
Look, it doesn't change. I have moms 5, 6, 7, 8 years out that still fear the sting. And our thing now is like, A, don't call your living baby an angel, you bitch, because we actually have angels. And
Hmm.
don't put your baby in black and white. Because come on, I immediately think it's dead. Like it's
Yes,
so fucked up. And it's
that's so
not that I
true.
hate the mom or the baby. That's insane. I hate the fact that my ignorance and my innocence is gone. And
Hmm.
you probably were doing all this fucked up shit I avoided, and you will never have this pain that I have. And it's like, it's not even a jealousy. It's just like I wouldn't even call it bitter, even. It's just a realization how
Hmm.
unlucky and shitty life can be. That's all it really is. Disappointment.
One of my last mom friends said is a lack of processing. Like I can't like my brain just can't process that, like I had to go through this,
It's kind of
you
wild.
know. It's crazy. I'm still like sometimes I close my eyes and I put myself back in the hospital room and I'm just like, did that really happen? And I remember coming home. Oh my God, coming home was like, you open the door
Yeah.
and it's just silence and you go into the nursery and you just like, my baby was supposed to be here, and I remember that first night I woke up in excruciating pain, from um, uh, contractions, not contract, I guess postpartum contractions, but
Yeah.
I was in a lot of pain, and I remember just screaming. And I took the ibuprofen they had prescribed me, and then I couldn't go back to sleep, so I went into the nursery,
Mm.
and I just cried. I cried for hours, and that next those next few days and weeks were brutal. Where like I remember I wanted to talk to a priest. I'm like, I need answers. Like I need like why does this happen? And I needed
Mm.
to a divine, like word of like this is what happened. This is why your baby died. And so like I remember we called up because I wasn't like a church goer, like very, like I wasn't consistently going to church at the time. And we had friends that were very religious and we called them up and we said, I need to talk to a priest. And so they reached out to their priest from their church and he called me that
Mm.
very next day, and the first thing he said to me was, your baby is going straight to heaven.
Mm.
She has not sinned. And
Mm. Mm.
this is a beautiful thing. And, obviously all that is comforting. It's, to a certain extent. But I had a big fight with God,
I
like,
was
and
about
I
to
know you've
ask.
heard,
Yeah.
I've, we've talked about this and I hear your conversations about that topic as well. And yeah, I remember being on my knees and just crying and looking up and say, why? Like, just help me understand, give me the wisdom. Like, please
Mm.
don't let go of me. Like, I don't know what to do. And, and I just remember all these thoughts and feelings of like I need to meet people. I need to understand like am I am I the only one feeling like this? Like, does this happen to other people? And
Hmm.
I found support groups. I found you. I found other local moms, and like I start branching out to try to understand better, like, and a lot of the common topic was like, yeah, like shit just happens sometimes, which I'm still not okay with, but
Yeah.
it did make me feel a little bit less alone, and that I guess like the guilt too, that I felt so much guilt that I didn't know. Like, how could I have known, like I
Yeah.
should have known. Um,
There's a lot tied up in that because I'm with you. If I had known and I had maybe gone in earlier, maybe his skin would have been as torn and that experience of holding him would have been so different and the skin to skin would have happened and I didn't get any of those things and it extends way further than how could I not have, known? It's like if I had gone in earlier, like if then, and it was like a ripple effect of like all the different experiences that we had with them because we didn't know earlier. I mean, it's a thing. It's such a
mhm,
thing. You're not alone in that. That's for sure.
yeah, yeah, it's yeah, and then obviously like I had no idea. So that's how like badly informed and like just I felt like taking care of like my doctors were. I was never told that my breast milk was gonna come in. Never. I had
Mm,
no clue. And 2 days later, my breasts are super hard and painful and engorged. And I'm just like, what is going on? Why? Like, what is this? So my doctor had actually given me her cell number because at the time we were still going back and forth and trying to figure out what happened. And she was like, just, when in your 6 week follow up, we don't have to come into the office. We can do virtual, blah, blah, blah. So that was nice. So I texted her and I'm like, hey, this is happening. What's going on? Like, what do I do? And she was like, oh, yeah, here, I'm going to prescribe you this pill. Like, I should have been prescribed that pill, like
yeah.
from the hospital. They should not have let me leave the hospital without it. She's like, but in the meantime, like, wear a tight bra, like, don't, like, and I'm like, this hurts. I have to pump to try to get some of this out. She's like, if you pump, you're going to stimulate the production. And then I was like, well, fuck it. I don't care. Like, I have to pump.
Oh, you did
So
pump. Okay.
so actually, that was very interesting because as painful as it was to have the milk that was supposed to go to my daughter, now it's right in front of me and there's nobody to go to. It also pumping and having that milk there also made me feel closer to her
Mm-hmm.
in a weird way.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually decided to keep pumping.
Mm.
I had a friend that had a 6-month-old that she had already stopped breastfeeding and she was running out of her supply, like her stash. And I said, I'll just pump and give you the milk. So I
Mm.
pumped for about 3 weeks and whatever I had in the freezer, I gave it to her. So it also did make me feel good that it went for somebody else that could make good use of it, wasn't gonna just been thrown out.
Yeah.
And then I also had a doula, which she was supposed to be there for the birth, but obviously at the time, like everything happened so fast and I didn't even think of her. But I talked to her. She came and visit me after what happened and we had a conversation and she said, "Look, if you're gonna pump, if you want to save some of the milk, I have somebody that can do these keepsakes and you can turn her breast milk into like a piece of jewelry." And I said, you know what, that's interesting. So and I put it on today because I wanted to show you, but I haven't been wearing this for the
Oh, how
past
pretty.
year.
Yeah.
And it's a little teardrop
Oh, I love that.
with the white part is the milk, and then these black dots is her ashes.
Oh, wow. Wait, how did I'm like terrified to open up that urn. How did you do that?
I
You
opened
did
it.
that? You did?
Yeah.
Are there
I
like
opened it.
pieces of
Yeah.
clothes and shit in there? Like,
No.
okay. Oh my God. I'm
No, it's
terrified.
just,
Like, I don't.
yeah.
So you just
And
open it and it
I
scoops a
had
little
to
out.
open it actually because it's sealed. So I had to like cut the bag, which I felt so bad.
Jesus,
Yeah.
you are braver than I am, girl. Okay, okay. I dig that. I
But
dig that. Okay.
yeah, so like I took a little bit out and then I sealed it back. But yeah, it's there and it's actually
Who
I have a little,
who
yes,
had
go
it
ahead.
made? Who did the creation for you? The jewelry.
Another doula,
Okay.
friends of my doula, down here close to us
Okay, so
too.
you were able
Like,
to hand over the milk instead of
yes,
shipping it in the ashes instead of ship because I'm
yes,
terrified to ship my stuff. I got to find someone
yes,
local.
yes. I went and she did it all. Like, I went to her house, I dropped it off there, and then we met. I think like 2 weeks later, and she gave it to me. It was really pretty, like in a little box. She had a little message, and yeah, it was really nice. So the first year, like this was like my, everywhere I went, and I was wearing it all the time. Actually, last year I went to Brazil. I'm from Brazil originally, and I went for New Year's because I couldn't stay. Like none of the holidays I could stay here the first
Yeah.
year because I was like, it's too much. Even like so we lost her in April 10th. Then the first major holiday that comes right after that is
Hmm.
Mother's Day.
Hmm.
So that was like right there, the very first one. It was Mother's Day. And then her due date was May 17th. So it was right after.
Mm.
And then my birthday at the end of the month on the 31st. So it was like the whole month of May just hit me back to
Oh my
back to
God, big
back.
time. Yeah.
So I had to travel, like I went away to Puerto Rico, like for my birthday, and then for New Year's we went to Brazil. And so when I was there, like I was with a friend who had two two kids, a boy, a 7-year-old boy, and a 2-year-old girl.
Mm.
And I I don't know, like I knew it was gonna be tough being around the girl, but since she was a little bit older, I'm like maybe it's not gonna be that hard. And I remember because I had a picture of my baby in as my screensaver on my phone.
Hmm.
And the little girl asked me who she was. And I said, "This is my baby."
Mm.
And she said, "Where is she?" And I said, "She's in heaven."
Mm.
And her brother, who's a little bit older, understands more. He goes, "Is she dead?"
Oh my God. Kids are so wild. Kids are wild with grief and death. It's so funny. I mean, was the mom cool with this? Like, because sometimes
Yeah,
it gets
they were.
like, I had to go
Yeah,
to my
everybody
sister and
was.
be like, "Are you cool with this?" Like,
I was like, I wanted to talk about her.
yeah.
I wanted so like, like my friends were feeling super awkward, even though like I did have a point that they asked me what happened. I told them the story, whatever, but like that was it. I did want to talk about her. And so if the little girl was bringing her up, I'm like, great, like
Hmm.
let's talk about her.
Hmm.
And then she grabbed my necklace. She's like, "What is this?" And I said, "This is my baby too."
You're
You
just hitting
know?
them. You're just hitting them with reality right there. Open palm, face
Yes,
plant. Yeah.
yes.
Good for you.
And that made me feel good. And it's funny because like I found out later uh that I got pregnant during that trip.
So you were April to May. Wait, like how long after?
That was like I was there for like 10 days.
Wait, what? So
So
was she passed in? She was born in April. This was
that
May?
was that was December. No, that was in
Oh, just
December.
okay. Oh, the
Yeah, no, that
holidays.
was
Right. I'm following now.
yes,
Okay,
yes.
okay.
Sorry.
The
Yeah, that
holiday.
was
No,
in
no, no.
December. That was
Okay.
8 months. 8 months after loss, I got pregnant.
Okay.
Um, and
Had you been trying for 4 months?
5 months.
5 months.
5 months.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's tough.
Yeah. And then but I got very intense with the trying again and like I got these really professional ovulation tests, and one
Yeah.
of the months I didn't ovulate, so I really don't count that month. So really it was 4 months.
You
But
didn't. Wow. How did you have like the flashy smileys for like fucking 2 weeks and then you never had a solid? Was it that?
it was no, because I actually had one. It was called Inito. It was a test that you
Oh,
plug it into your phone. Have you heard of that one?
oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. That's high tech, man.
High tech, yes. So I never got like because it has an apps and it has the graphs. So I never got the peak
Oh,
on that
wow.
specific month.
Okay.
Yeah.
God, that's hard,
And
man.
yeah, so that month was really hard. That month, I remember, oh man, because every time when you're trying again, every time that you get a negative
Mhm.
test, it's like you're grieving all over again times 10. You
Yeah.
know, it's like
Yeah.
it already hits you every day, but it hits you that much harder the
Oh
day
God,
that you
yeah.
get the negative, you know? And
And then
now,
especially if you're like, my body's broken. It didn't ovulate. Like, what the fuck? Again, like it's not doing what it's
yes.
supposed to do. Yeah, I get
And
that.
I remember just crying and like praying, and I had started reading the book Signs, and I know you've
Yeah.
mentioned also in the podcast, and that was actually I didn't see it through you. It was my doula who recommended that I would read it, and I had just started reading it, and at that point I didn't have a sign. I'm like, okay, like I just read all about these stories of people with signs, whatever. So I just praying like, just give me a sign, you know. And I remember like I got that negative ovulation test that morning, and then like no. So we went to Colombia. My husband is Colombian, and we went to Colombia, and we had just started trying. And I was supposed to be ovulating that week. And we were in the car. It was like 6 o'clock in the morning, going to the airport in an Uber. And I look to my right, and there's like this huge, beautiful rainbow, like I've
Mm.
never seen, like it was a double rainbow. You could see the whole arch. And I was just like, oh my God, maybe that's the sign, you know? So I just kind of like stuck to it. And then I took the test with me for that during that trip, and I ovulated. And so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get pregnant here, blah, blah,
Mhm.
blah. Didn't get pregnant. So the following month, it was the month that I didn't ovulate. And I remember just crying and crying. And I'm like, okay, like I need to see the sign. Is this really a sign? And
Were you
I
calling on
remember
signs from Alessandra, or were you calling on signs from Natalia? Were you calling for like your future baby, or which one?
From
Okay,
Alesandra.
okay, okay.
Yes. I wanted to have a sign for her. Like
Right.
every time that that sign would come up, like it would be her talking to me thinking of her, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
And I remember walking into, like, I was going from the bedroom to the living room, and I stopped. We're like, we're I am at the office right now, and like
Hmm.
it's on the way. So I looked at the floor, and there is this reflection of rainbows,
Oh
like
my
all
goodness.
over my floor, like a huge, and it was reflecting from a thing that I had, a crystal thing that I had in the window that was
Oh wow.
reflecting from the wall. But
Specific
at
time of day had to be happen. Yeah.
a specific time of day,
Yeah.
and I had just got a negative ovulation test,
Oh
you know?
wow. Yeah.
And I was devastated. And so when I saw that, I was like, okay, that's hope. Okay,
Yeah.
everything's gonna be okay. Okay, like don't be desperate, you know? It was like
Yeah.
my sign to be like, it's okay. Fast forward, you know, like all the other months after that, I had regular ovulations, and it was just rainbows everywhere. Like seeing them everywhere. People were sending me rainbows. Mind you, this is like September through December in South
Hmm.
Florida when it doesn't rain really down here during that time.
True. It's true.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was like, okay, like this is real. So anyways, I ended up not taking any ovulation test on that trip with me to Brazil, and I was just like, whatever, I'm not gonna get pregnant here. I relaxed. I wasn't thinking about it. I ended up getting pregnant there.
Holy moly. Don't
Um,
you hate when that happens? Like people say, just relax, you get pregnant, and then you do.
I hated it. And I was just like, and I'm like, but it's true.
I
Like, God,
know.
you
It's fucking
know.
wild. Oh my
Yeah.
God. The two times I actually got pregnant when I wasn't trying to, I was hammered drunk, not paying any attention, thought I already ovulated. Turns out I ovulate late. I
Hmm.
mean, there's something to be
Yeah.
said about stress and the
Yeah.
grief and the trauma. And then when you like kind of start to like push it away just for a little bit, it's just
Hmm.
kind of wild how the body responds. And but I'm sure
Yeah.
that day that you got the positive, you like lost your mind.
Oh my God. It was, yeah. And I waited because every month, actually, no, that month, I was supposed to get my period on a Tuesday. Friday was going to be the 10th of the month, which was
Hmm.
anniversary day. So I'm like, either I'm going to get a negative and I just will be sad anyways because is the 10th month anniversary of her death,
Yeah.
or I'm gonna get a positive and I'm gonna be happy and I'm gonna think of her and I'm gonna thank her.
Hmm.
So I waited until that Friday. Like I had already missed my period on Tuesday. And my husband's like, "You're pregnant. You're pregnant for sure." I'm like, "Okay, stop it. Like I don't want to like think
Yeah.
about this. So yeah, on that morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, I woke up. I'm like, "Let's do it. Like I'm gonna do this test right now." And yeah, it was just like surreal to get the two lines and then it starts, all over again. And
Yeah.
I'm just at the moment, I'm like, I'm just gonna enjoy this, but because I know the anxiety is gonna ramp up as it goes. Um, but yeah, it's been
A wild ride, girl. I mean,
2 years of just woo,
that's
you
the thing.
know.
It's like it doesn't end when we leave the hospital. Then comes the sinking into the acute grief, the trenches, like trying to figure out what in the hell just
Hmm.
happened. Then you sought answers, which is another phase of heartbreak, disappointment, new feelings, new rage, new blame,
Hmm.
new shame, like whatever it is. And then sinking into that and then trying to conceive because the next thing you know you kind of put your grief a little bit to the side. It's still there, but like your grief starts to get intertwined with negative tests, and it's almost like, what are you grieving here? So I kind of remember disassociating a little bit from Brody's death, and then the pregnancy, and then you're focused on the pregnancy, and you can't, I don't know if you're like me. When I would grief spiral during my pregnancy after a loss, like I would contract. Like I had to be very careful to stay
Hmm.
away from things that made me spiral. So ultimately, stepping away from my grief and trauma and trying to get through
Hmm.
this particular phase. Then comes parenting after loss, a newborn. Like I already had a baby, but I didn't get to parent that one. So I have no idea what I'm doing, even though this is my second baby. That was a huge kind of shameful mother thing for me. I don't know even know how to explain it. Like, oh, don't you tell me how to, you know, handle my newborn. But I actually had no idea, even though I'd already, given birth. It was
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
And then so when the dust settles, it's been 2 years and you look around and you just are entering into the next one, the next
Hmm.
phase. How has it all changed or shifted for you in the last 2 years?
Oh man. It's definitely, I'm not gonna say less painful, but it's more bearable.
Mm,
Um, I can think of her now on a positive light and be grateful that she existed. Um, and because of her sister's here now.
mm-hmm.
Because I was always one and done. I was never gonna plan on having other children. I'm an only child, and
That's
my
a
husband
massive
ha
mind thing, like to know that you may not have Natalia if Alessandra didn't die. That's crazy.
it
Oh,
is. It really is. And I think that's a whole nother, for me, just a little bit unique situation because I think
mhm.
most people want multiples.
Multiple, yeah.
And for me, it's just like, yeah, I never planned a second pregnancy. I never planned none of this to happen, but it happened. And I am so in love with this girl. And every day that goes by, I'm so grateful that she's here. And that makes me more grateful for Alessandra because
Mhm.
uh, she gave her life, literally. It was the ultimate sacrifice. And I may never understand why in this life, this had to happen this way.
Mhm.
But I am grateful that I have two daughters, and I can say I have two daughters.
Mhm.
Um, whereas I would have never been able to say that, most
Yeah.
likely. And I don't know if you can see it, but there's a picture of her right here
So
behind
beautiful. I love
me.
her little bow.
Uh,
She's so sweet.
Yeah. So I always look at her and I'm already, like showing Natalia, her sister's pictures. We have pictures of her everywhere in this house.
That's great. That's
Yeah.
great. And as Natalia gets older, she will probably be in charge of how you honor her sister, how you talk about her sister, which is going to be a really beautiful thing to watch. And it won't be as
Yeah.
sad for her. It'll just be part of life for her and super normal. Yeah, my sister's in heaven. hey, stranger at Publix, my sister's in heaven, like you're like, oh my God, what do I say? Yeah, like it's gonna be really adorable to watch that play out.
Yeah.
Heartbreakingly adorable.
Yeah.
Um, but I want to leave you obviously on with the last word. Is there anything any messages you want to leave with?
I mean, to everybody that is going through this right now, it's recent and it's in the trenches. Um, I would say hang in there, hold on to your faith, hold on to your loved ones, the ones that are supporting you. Hold on to this community because it's a beautiful thing that we have so much support. And only people that understand, that have gone through what we went through, really understand what you're going through right now. And I remember listening to your podcasts and being like, yes, exactly. Yeah, like I had like these reactions, and
Mhm.
and I'm so grateful to be here today because I know that so many, I can be what so many others were for me to so many other women. And
Mhm.
it's a beautiful thing because I think ultimately using what happened to us and transforming in like such a tragic thing into a purpose
Mhm.
to bring some light, to bring some just comfort to somebody else that I think it's so powerful. So thank you for having me here, and I really hope that I really wish that this would never happen again to anybody else, but I
Mhm.
know it will, and thankfully we have people like you that are willing to speak up and represent this community.
Well, I'm honored to be able to pass the torch so that you can hold light for those in the dark until they can see the light again. And I think it's really special to watch that happen. It's surreal being like, I never thought in a million years I'd be able to talk about this and help others. So I'm so excited. Excited is so weird, but I am, whatever. For you to open up your DMs, your emails, whatever it may be for other mothers who are looking for some guidance and who picked up on something that you said that really resonated with them. So, how would you like mamas to reach out to you?
Well, I'm pretty active on Instagram.
Hmm.
It's well, shoot, I forgot my hand though.
I'll put it
Give
in the
me.
description, but they know
Okay,
that they can
you have
DM
my
you.
hand
Okay,
though.
great. Yeah.
Yes, yes. Instagram. I mean, I can also. You have my email. You can
Yeah.
also give them my email
Sure.
too.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can do that.
Hmm.
So IG and email, I'll put in the description. Yes, y'all hit her up if you're in the South Florida area. I actually already connected you to a lost mom in Boca, that was really looking for some in-person connections. And I honestly think the South Florida Star Legacy is really dope. It's such a cool
Hmm.
group of women. Different stories, experiences, backgrounds, and I think that's really special and really important to find in-person connections. So hit her up. Are you still doing like group meetings and stuff and meeting up with people?
With the foundation?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, we always have events, and once a year we have our fundraising event. But
Okay.
we are actually getting together in a couple of weeks. Just, you know, like I think most of us. Actually, there was four of us last year that gave birth to our rainbow babies.
Oh, that's so wow, wow. That's so special. That's
It's very
important.
special. Yeah.
Hmm.
So we really have a nice niche group here. But and it has, when I started, and I'm sorry, like I feel short on time, but I'm just gonna
No,
mention
you're
this.
fine. Yeah.
When I started 2 years ago, crazy, there was only like three of us, four of us,
Hmm.
and now there is, I think, 12.
Wow.
So I think, this is something that it's needed, and I'm happy that people are finding us too. And we're growing, and we are, yeah, I think it's really special, and it just gives you so much comfort to just have those conversations. I just love meeting them and just to talk about loss and parenting after loss and all those, same topics
Mhm.
that we talk about that we don't get the chance to talk about to with other people.
It's true.
with the normies.
The
Yeah.
normies. Oh my God. Ain't nothing like a lost mama conversation, man. They are
Yeah.
like the most intensely awesome ones.
Yeah.
So okay. I love that. Thank you so much for making yourself available for new mamas because, like you said, it's not going to stop and they need some place to land because it's so isolating and feeling
Yeah.
like out of body, like an alien. So if you're in South Florida, hit her up. Girl, I'll be back
Okay.
down there for Easter. So I'll hit you up so we can get another coffee and hang
Yes,
out and maybe get a group together. I would love to meet some other moms.
for
Um,
sure.
yeah, yay. I do. I love it too. I love meeting mamas and giving them big hugs. So,
Yes, and we have a couple here that really also appreciate you. When I posted that picture of us on Instagram, they're like, "Oh my God, you met her? No way! You're like a superstar."
get out of town. That's funny. Who knew? Oh,
Yeah.
little old weirdo me. That's
Yeah.
so funny. Well, I absolutely love that. Send my love to literally
Yeah.
everybody. I wish I knew these things. I wish people would tell me, but thank you for letting
Yeah.
me know that people like that I help. I just want to help.
Yeah. Yeah, you
All right,
too.
girl. I love you. I love you and your
Thank
baby.
you.
I will see you very soon. I'll see you on the Instagram. And thank you so much again, girl. You're the best.
Love you. Thank you
Okay.
so much.
Bye, friend.
Bye.